Hey guys, I'm Uli, this is Shaw. Welcome to Royal Tiger Imports, RT-Imports. And today we want to give you a little bit of a history lesson and tell you what we have in inventory, which is actually really cool. These are all firearms which are over 130, 140 years old, maybe 150. And this is the first rifles basically which were mass produced for various militaries in Europe after the era of muzzleloaders. So this is a very interesting, and also it's interesting that you can shoot these guns. So we partnered up with Milsurp Ammunition and to recreate the old style bullets again, so you can really shoot them and shoot them safely, because this ammunition was designed for all these old guns. So sure, tell me a little bit more about what do we have here, what the history is, and so on and so forth.
Sure. Well, we've got quite the assortment of these antique firearms here. You can see closest to y'all, farthest away from us, we've got a Mannlicher 1888/90 that is firing our 8x50 Mannlicher cartridge using the M-Block clips, the 5-rounders, which we also do have available. These are the original clips, not the reproduction. Those are one of the very first straight pull mass-produced Austrian rifles that the Austrian military would have issued. They're very smooth actions. They're incredibly interesting rifles. It's a wedge lock design from a more of a rear locking standpoint. Very excellent craftsmanship, interesting gun. There's a lot of history behind those. This is previous to the M95. So the M95 is the rifle that you think of for World War I Austria. And these did see service in World War I, but they weren't as common. So this is a bit of a rare piece. And speaking of World War I, we've got our Gewehr 88 up next. The Gewehr 88's, of course, made starting in 1888, the model of 1888. But this particular one, I believe, is a Erfurt 1890. We have a lot of these that are made by Erfurt, Danzig, you name it, Haenel, all throughout the roughly mid to early 1890s. And of course, with that manufacture date, they're all antiques as well. Condition varies. Some of them are a bit more nice with the wood condition, like this one here. Some of them are a little bit more rough. It depends, but we individually list many of those so you can know exactly what you're getting. And then we've even got some more rare items like these Kropatschek rifles. This particular one right here is a model 1884, 11 millimeter Gras French rifle. They often were looking at some of the other Kropatschek designs in Europe, so they used elements of, say, the 1878 Steyr Marine, which we don't have here, but we won't have here on the table, but we do have an inventory as well, a very limited quantity of those. They were taking elements of some of the Kropatschek rifles and designed their own. That one in particular is a Châtellerault. Very interesting rifle. Again, these rifles, the 1884s and 1885s, were very hard to come by in the U.S. before this import. There were only a handful available, and there were a very small batch of what came in with this, but nonetheless, a much greater quantity than was originally available in the U.S. And then we've also got two Vetterli rifles here. These Vetterli rifles, you've got your earlier 70/87, which is your black powder 10.4 millimeter cartridge. And then you've got your 6.5 Carcano, the 70/87-15, which of course fires your 6.5 Carcano in the 6-round stripper clip. We have, again, various conditions of these. These two in particular are in pretty decent shape, considering that these guns are, generally speaking, made in the mid to late 1880s. The vast
Actually, some
majority.
1870 dates I have on these ones, so it's very interesting.
And I've even seen some as late as about 1890 or 1891, which means that they were still making these when they were then making the 1891 Carcano long rifle. So there's a bit of an interesting overlap. They were making quite a few of these. They must have been, and they were doing a lot of the conversions as well for World War I. Again, tons of history with these. You'll see all sorts of different arsenals, all sorts of different markings. You'll see, like this one has an AOI stamp, which means that it was used by the Italians in the invasion of Ethiopia. You'll see them with Ethiopian police stamps. You'll see any of these models with Ethiopian police stamps sometimes. There's just so much history and implementation by tons of different countries with all of these rifles that you see in front of us. And then we've also got some French guns here. Of course, the classic 1874 Gras, both the rifle and the carbine. These ones in particular are pretty decent shape as well. You can even see that they've, well, maybe hard to see from back there, but many of these, including this one, have Amerik markings on them, or Guise as well. And then lastly, we've got the Dutch Beaumonts, but what's interesting about these ones in particular that came out of Ethiopia is that they are Lion of Judah marked. So again, something special that never came into the US before this particular batch, but we have a small quantity of them left at this point. So if something special like that interests you, or anything else like this, feel free to check out our website. We've got just about anything you could ever look for.
Yes, and folks, this is really, really rare. There will be not too much left anymore. You know, this stuff sells very well. It's an antique. You don't need any license. You can buy it with your ID. And except some states like New York, I guess, you have to have sent it to an FFL. But otherwise, these are really available without any license. You can ship it to your home with your ID on file. And again, this is really, really rare. These guns have a ton of history. Most of these guns were used in the Battle of Adwa, and we had a video about this too, but you can look it also up. It was a battle of the Ethiopians against the Italians. And then also later on in I think 1941, when the Italians were kicked out by the Ethiopians with the help of the British. So again, these guns have a ton of history. Check them out. And we will have some more close-up videos of these guns later on. And maybe Shaw can also give you a little short tour of these guns in a bit after this segment here. Again, thank you for watching. Check out these guns. This is once in a lifetime opportunity to get these historical items. And these are definitely heirlooms. And if you spend a little bit of time on them, take them carefully apart, clean them, soak them in oil and degreaser and so on and so forth, I'm pretty sure you will get a really, really nice, decent shape out of these guns. What do you think?
I think so.
And again, check out our partners over at Milsurp Ammunition. They make this ammo, and you can take a Steyr, you can take a Carcano or Vetterli, go to the range, shoot them like folks did 130 years ago. Thanks for watching. God bless, and God bless America.
All right, folks, let's take a closer look at these antique rifles. Starting with the Mannlicher 88/90 here, you can see this one in particular has quite a bit of original finish left on it. Although it does have a fair amount of handling wear, scratches, etc., it's still in fairly decent shape. You can see it's OEWG Steyr marked, as well as a WN89 proof mark. We also have our 8890 and Mannlicher 88 style rear sight base, which differs from our M88/95, which shares the same rear sight base off of a Mannlicher 95 long rifle. We have our 3 barrel bands as well, and you can see that this one has our front volley sight, and this one has our front stacking swivel, or stacking rod in this particular case. We also have our front end of the Gewehr 88 here, and we even have what appears to be German unit markings on the barrel bands. And let's take a look at the receiver markings on this one. This one appears to be a Erfurt 1890, may possibly be an 1893. It's been S updated for the Spitzer cartridge, and otherwise is mostly complete. Not too bad a shape considering the heavy use and long life it's seen. This one is our 1884 Kropatschek. You can see this one, while the markings are upside down from our view, was manufactured by Saint-Étienne actually, and it has our MLE 1884 marking over there, as well as our manufacturer disarm above the Saint-Étienne maker's mark. This particular one was made in 1885. And we've even got some Guise markings on top of the barrel. And you can also take a look at the other barrel bands. Of course, we've got our bayonet lug. We even have the front end of the magazine tube coming out here. Of course, it's worth noting that on these Kropatschek rifles, the magazine tube, just like a Lebel rifle, runs parallel underneath the barrel, and if I recall correctly, has about a 7 or an 8 round capacity. And let's take a look at both of these Vetterlis while we're here. This bottom one is a 70/87. You can tell by the muzzle diameter being much larger because it is a 10.4 millimeter black powder bullet. And then the smaller one, which is going to be our smokeless powder cartridge, has a 6.5 millimeter diameter for, of course, the 6.5 Carcano cartridge. And when looking at the receivers, of course, you can see this is our 7087, which has the Vitali style magazine, while this one has our Carcano style magazine. This one has our open slot at the bottom as well for the clip to drop free once the last round is chambered, while this one is self-contained. And as we mentioned earlier, this one even has an AOI stamp and also some other markings. Let's also take a look at our Gras rifle below and the Gras carbine. It's easy to see the difference with some of the Gras carbines because these, at least the vast majority of the Gras carbines that we've seen, have brass trigger guards and brass barrel bands. You can also see the shorter carbine rear sight, while the rifle has the steel trigger guard along with a longer rifle rear sight, as well as the differences in bolt handle. You can see the straight rifle bolt handle compared to the carbine bolt handle, which is bent over. This particular carbine is a Gras cavalry carbine, although you will also see some that are slightly shorter that are a gendarmerie carbine that have a bayonet lug and 2 barrel bands instead, or you will also see a much shorter artillery musketoon. While we're here, you can take a quick look at the Milsert munition. Got some of the 6.5 Carcano and the 8x50R Mannlicher here. And we've got our 6.5 Carcano. You can see that is in our reproduction clip here. And then we've got some of the 8x50 Mannlicher. This one is an original clip. And it's worth noting, many of these original clips that come out of Ethiopia are in exactly this condition. They were stored extremely well. Some of them have very light surface rust, but otherwise the vast majority of them are in excellent condition considering where they came from. And finally, let's take a look at the Dutch Beaumont rifle. This is an 1871/79 Beaumont. We even got our original cleaning rod. Those are fairly hard to come by, but you can see it's got its own distinct profile. We've also got our rear sight assembly on the Beaumont. And of course, this is also a single shot tray feed style. There's no magazine tube, no magazine lifter. Simply chamber the single cartridge on the tray and fire. And this one even has a Ethiopian police marking So let's get a closer look at that. And you'll see those Ethiopian police markings on quite a wide variety of guns. We've even seen them on Breda M30s and seen them on Mannlichers and other Kropatscheks and Vetterlis, you name it. It's a very interesting mark, and you'll see it on a wide variety of guns. We've even seen it on an M1 carbine once. So again, there is our Dutch Beaumont. Quite the interesting gun. Thank you very much for watching. God bless.